Hello and welcome. I'm Jenny Hall. Thanks for joining me for another card making tutorial. Today I'm going to demonstrate the color layering technique. This is a really fun and versatile technique that you can apply to many different art projects. You can carry it over from card making into scrapbooking to create a really fun colored element, or just use it for anything in general. The card we are creating is this beautiful card that is made with Seize the Day stamp set. Seize the Day is available in Stampin' Up's annual catalog. Here's a close-up look. And this stamp set is a type that is called distinctive stamps. That means that there are clusters of dots that are clumped together to create really intense depth in an image. For the color layering technique today, we're going to need to use a stamp positioning tool. This is the Stamparatus. This is what I use, and it's available from Stampin' Up. I like the Stamparatus because there are removable doors. There are a door hinge here and a door hinge here, and I can put my stamp on the door and then flip it over and go again. A stamp positioning tool, there are many different ones out there, but a stamp positioning tool is necessary for today's project. We're going to be also using some Stampin' Blends markers. These are water-based markers that are from Stampin' Up, and it's the exact same ink in these markers that are in the Stampin' Up stamp pads or the Stampin' Up ink refills. By adding one layer of color, then building up more layers of color, then we can create a wonderful new look, and I really like the results. This particular stamp set, Seize the Day, works really nicely with this technique. So let's get started. I like to store my Stamparatus in the Stamparatus case. It helps me to keep all of those plastic plates nice and scratch-free. Let's start the project by putting the Whisper White panel into the Stamparatus and secure it down with the magnets. Once we have the red rubber stamp on the door, I'm using the Early Espresso Stampin' Write marker to isolate just those deer images. The color layering technique is really great for isolating those images. I'm using the long brush tip to add the color to the stamp, and as you can see, I'm stamping it down many times. Just keep going until you feel like the image is crisp enough for your liking. Now I'm going to start some variation in the color layering. I've used Crumb Cake to cover that bottom area and now switched over to soft Suede so that it's more faded out and light at the bottom and transitions to a deeper, darker color near where the deer were. Going back to Early Espresso, I'm going over the line, the very crisp line that divides that stamp so that it will appear as a very crisp line. Now we're moving on to the greenery. We're using two colors, which are Old Olive and Bermuda Bay. Add depth by first stamping Old Olive and then add some more color to the center of the foliage and it deepens it. This is the color layering technique. We can do it with more than one color by using the green and the blue in the same way. Bermuda Bay around the outside edges of the flowers or the leaves, and then the green darker into the middle. Here's another example of using old olive and then stamp with old olive again down in the center of the stem, away from the tip of the leaves, and it gives a much darker, lush greenery. And the fourth example is to first stamp with old olive, then to use Bermuda Bay, the blue marker, down in the center. So there is lots of ways to use this color layering technique, lots of color combinations, all sorts of ways to gain more depth and more control over the colors. The sentiment is stamped with soft suede. I am fussy cutting all of these leaves, and I have stamped 6 of them. It's not an issue for me to do any fussy cutting because I enjoy the process, but this would be a great opportunity for you to use a scan and cut type of machine in order to fussy cut all of those little greeneries. I've mounted the panel on a layer and then mounted that unit onto a top folding card base with Stampin' Dimensionals. Now comes the fun part. We're going to position all of this greenery around the semicircle to make it look as if we are peering in on something that is a place that we should not intrude on. I really love the look of the deer, and when I imagined creating this project, I was just an observer, and I could maybe move aside a branch or two just to look at the deer at a distance. This is going to create a foreground and a background. The background would be the deer. The foreground is not just the sentiment, but it's the greenery in itself. Because if the greenery were hanging over the deer, it would not be in proportion to the scene. So to make this look a little bit more realistic, we've got the color layering technique to give very lush, variegated colored leaves, and then we have the deer in the background. Liquid glue helps me to be able to position all of these little items, and don't be afraid to cut apart those leaves to trim them down if need be. Use as many or as little as you like for this project. For me, it's all about the lushness of getting the deep colors that are not just one solid color. That's the fun of the color layering technique. I'm using some of the Share What You Love Artisan Pearls in the green color to place around to look like berries on the project. Earth tones are one of my favorite color combinations to craft with and work perfectly for this project. Wasn't that fun? I hope you like the color layering technique and have been filled with wonderful ideas on how to use that in your own crafting. Here's another look at the card that we're creating. And you can see that it has color tones of blues and greens. And this is a very clean and simple card, and it's an easy design to recreate. Thank you for joining me today. All of the products are available in my online store. All of the products are listed down below in the video description as well. There's also a free PDF over on my blog at jennyhalldesign.com. You can go there and download it for free. I hope you enjoyed this project, and I hope to see you again really soon. Thanks for joining me today. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching the video. Have a good day!